Phil Matthew coming to you from Unlocking Your Potential. Hope you're having a great day wherever you are in the world. And the question that I'm thinking about here for today is there a recipe for having a growth mindset? And before I get to that, just want to let you know that what we do here at Unlocking Your Potential is we basically help people to, live a life that they secretly really want, which is an interesting proposition. So sometimes you can be involved in whatever you're doing and you might be in a purple patch 5, 10, 15 years just loving it, but then something happens and you start to look for something else. So this is what you can do before that. Maybe you've thought about wanting to write a book, or maybe speak from stage, maybe have a different career, maybe have your own business, maybe have a bigger business, this sort of thing. So that's what we're looking at. So back to the question, is there a recipe for having a growth mindset? What I think about is, or the analogy that I come up with for myself to explain it to myself, was that if I asked you, could you make a chocolate cake for me? You might say, yeah, well, I could make a chocolate cake, providing you give me a recipe. And so in giving you a recipe, you could go about putting that chocolate cake together with a set of ingredients, essentially. The thing is, though, that we'd have to also appreciate that if you left out one of the ingredients, you get a different result. Let's say it was the eggs. You left the eggs out, you get a different result. So the main point there is that there's a set of ingredients, and if you leave one of the actual ingredients out, you're going to get a different result. And so it is with the mind. And so that's the question, what are the ingredients of the mind? And so, of course, we don't really hear that talked about in our school system and in our society. What are the ingredients? I guess the closest we might come to it is what I call the surface modalities and the platitudes related around positive thinking and reading and maybe being on a podcast. So it's this idea of having knowledge and getting knowledge and gathering knowledge and information coming in from the outside coming from the outside in. That's how we sort of look at it. So the recipe for the mind, as I have taught myself through different mentors, essentially, is that there's a conscious mind and there's a subconscious mind. And of course, I've pretty well lived my whole life not wanting to hear those words because they were just very uncomfortable. They just didn't really fit. So I can understand if they're not sort of sexy words to use for yourself. But in the conscious mind, that's what we'd have. You might want to think that's your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. Just two parts to the mind there to look at it simply. And in your conscious mind is your education. It's where we stack up the books. So they say you're educated and your knowledgeable mind is up here. And this is where your higher intellectual faculties, essentially sit. The muscles of the mind, which is your perception, your will, your imagination, your intuition, memory, and your reason, the muscles of the mind. So this is where all your creativity is up there. And then there's the other part of the mind down here, your subconscious mind, let's say, which is really where it's your emotional mind, it's your doing mind, it's your believing mind. So they're two different parts to the mind. Now, if you didn't know what those parts were, and you didn't, as my friend and mentor Bob Proctor says, if you don't spend a respectable amount of time understanding the relationships between your conscious mind, your subconscious mind, and how it gets the body to move, how it gets the body to do things, then you're dealing on a hit and miss basis. And that's where he says, life can be an absolutely magical trip, but, it can be a real bitch, if you don't sort of understand how things work. If we have a look at what behavioural scientists say, Dr. Bruce Lipton, he was the guy that I heard say it. He said, this part of your mind up here, your conscious mind, it can process 40 bits of information out of the environment every second. Okay, so I thought, that's an interesting bit of information. But he says this part of your mind here, your subconscious mind, can process 40 million bits of information out of the environment every second. So he's basically saying that this part of your mind is 1,000,000 times more powerful than this part of your mind up here, the conscious mind. Whilst they're both are incredibly important and do different things. But just knowing that, that's sort of got to give us some clue in terms of the recipe of the mind of where to actually focus. And of course, as I said before, if you're leaving one of those parts out, one of those understandings out, let's say on a scale of 1 to 10, all these things can be measured and we can get better at anything that we do, then you could understand how it makes life harder in terms of making the money you want to make, maybe having the relationships that you want to have, the physical body, the physical aspects of ourselves. You can see that if we don't understand how our mind and how we can grow our mind and how we can operate from a growth mindset, you can understand how it makes it difficult mentally, and we won't even talk about spiritually. That's a whole different kettle of fish. So there's some ideas on the ideas around the growth mindset and having a recipe for the mind. Hope you've got something out of that. If you have, consider the social media protocols of maybe clicking the like button. You can certainly share this. You can certainly leave a comment if what that's got you interested. And around this video, there will be some more information as it relates to getting more information from me related to the mind. You can get access to our free 22-minute mind muscle workout, which gives you a bit of a taste. And then there's the idea of getting some help, which is talking to me directly. You can do that also. So that's it. Have a great day, and we'll see you again on another video down the track.